It's time for some fun. Let's learn how to thread a sewing machine. Hey there, fellow sewing enthusiasts. Welcome back to another episode of Sewing Saturday. Today, we're diving into one of the most fundamental skills every sewer needs to master: threading a sewing machine. Whether you're just starting out or looking for a refresher, stick around as we break down the process step by step, from winding a bobbin all the way to threading the needle. If you're new here and you're still not familiar with the different parts of the sewing machine, you can watch the previous episode wherein we tackled the different parts and uses of the sewing machine. So watch that, come back here and join us. First things first, make sure your sewing machine is powered off for safety. This is crucial whenever you're working with the machine's internals. And also, you will need an all-purpose sewing thread, because obviously you will be threading your machine after all, and the foot pedal. In addition, you will need a clipper and a plastic bobbin. If you take a closer look at your sewing machine, most likely you will notice a numbered path running along the body of the machine. This is your guide to follow whenever you're threading your sewing machine. So step one is winding the bobbin. We will follow the numbered path both for winding the bobbin as well as threading the sewing machine. So you would notice that your sewing machine, if you brought it brand new, comes with a couple of plastic bobbins. These are essential tools in getting your sewing machine to actually work and make those stitches. Because to be able to sew two fabric pieces together, the fabric will require two stitch components, basically to hold the two fabric pieces together. The upper thread, which is coming out from the needle, and a lower thread, which is coming out from the bobbin. We also call it the bobbin thread. This is an essential component as it interacts with the upper thread to form the stitches. And that's what makes sewing super impressive. So to wind the bobbin, grab your spool of thread and place it on the spool pin. This is your spool pin right here. Ensure that the thread is unwinding in the correct direction to prevent any tangles. Pull the thread and insert it onto the thread guide like so. While pulling the thread ever so gently, wrap it around the pre-tension disc from left to right. And this is your pat number one as shown or mentioned here on my sewing machine. You will only do this part only when you're winding a bobbin. Then grab a bobbin and insert the thread into the hole located on one of the flat side of the bobbin like so. Next, locate the bobbin winding mechanism on your sewing machine. Insert the empty bobbin into the bobbin winder shaft and ensure that it's secure and properly seated. These are pats 2, 3, and 4. Also, take note of the loose tail as we will need to hold on to this while winding the bobbin. Push the bobbin winder shaft to the right to change the machine settings to bobbin winding. Turn on the machine so you can start winding the bobbin. While holding the tail of the thread from the bobbin, gently step on the foot pedal. This will start winding the bobbin. After a few winds or so, stop the machine and cut the loose end of the thread. Continue stepping on the foot pedal to continue winding the bobbin. You'll notice that it will start to slow down as the bobbin sensor senses that the bobbin is getting full. Cut the thread, push the bobbin winder shaft back to the left, remove the bobbin. You can leave the spool of thread in the spool pin and turn the machine off for safety. And that's how you wind a bobbin. Moving on, open up the bobbin case cover, as your next step is to place the bobbin in the bobbin case. All you have to do is to grab the tail of the thread from the bobbin with your left hand and the bobbin on your right hand like so. It should resemble like the letter P, and that's how you're going to place the bobbin in the case. Insert the bobbin into the bobbin case so that the thread unwinds to the left, and guide the thread into the slit located on the side of the bobbin case. Then place the cover back into the bobbin case. Bobbin is done. Step 2 is threading the machine. But before we begin threading, first things to look out for is the presser foot and the take-up lever. Both of these components should be raised, otherwise the machine cannot be threaded. Also, this step is easier than winding the bobbin, as you will have the numbered paths running along the body of the machine, which makes it so much easier when threading. To begin threading the machine, unwrap the thread from the pre-tension disc. Pass the thread through the channel by following the numbered paths 2, 3, 4, and 5, like so. Two things you will need to ensure in this step. First, it is important that the thread wraps around the tension dial, and that the thread passes and hooks onto the thread take-up lever. Otherwise, your machine won't work properly and your thread will break while sewing. Next is to slide the thread behind the needle bar thread guide. These are paths 6 and 7. Hold the thread with your left hand, then feed the thread behind the thread holder with your right hand like so. And the last step is to insert the thread into the eye of the needle. Pull the thread and send it towards the back of the sewing machine under the presser foot. Let's talk about needle threaders. So this machine, the TR14A, has a semi-automatic needle threader. If your machine doesn't have this feature, you can just simply insert a thread into the eye of the needle and you're done threading your machine, pretty much. However, if your machine has this feature, it will make threading the needle so much easier. Let me show you how it works. Pull the threader down, then pull the end of the thread and pass it through the notch of the threader guide. Pull the thread from the front and insert it into the slit of the threader like so. Lift or release the threader, as this mechanism will help the thread pass through the eye of the needle. Pull the thread and send it towards the back of the sewing machine under the presser foot. Once this is all done and with everything set up, you're now ready to sew with your sewing machine. Remember to always refer to your sewing machine manual for further instructions that I may not have mentioned or have missed in today's video. And I hope this tutorial will help you become a master in threading your sewing machine. So there you have it, friends. Winding the bobbin and threading your sewing machine is a straightforward process that's essential for any sewing project. With a bit of practice, you'll be winding bobbins and threading like a pro in no time. Stay tuned for our next video as we show you how to practice and become confident with your sewing machine. I will see you on the next video. Until then, happy sewing.